your bio speaks for itself, but in case people don't know,
Thank
like
you.
national team, superstar, amazing soccer player.
Thank you.
What do you have a favorite quote or like a motto that you live by or maybe helped you through some years in soccer?
A few, you're gonna laugh at
I
probably
love
one
it.
of them. It's from 50 Cent. No, but I changed it. His, like, album or, like, movie was called, like, Get Rich or Die Trying, and, like, when I got cut from the 2015 Olympics, like, my whole thing was, like, I am going to give everything into my training, and I'm gonna make it or I'm gonna die trying, literally. Like,
Oh
I'm
my
gonna do
gosh.
everything where I feel like at
Yeah.
the end of this, like, I checked every single box. I put everything on the line. Whatever I need to do, I did, and if I still did not make that Olympic team coming up in 2016 or the World Cup, the next one, then would have to be able to accept I hopefully would be able to accept it, but
Yeah.
I didn't wanna have any regrets. So that one was like it's so funny, "Get rich or
I
die
love
trying,"
it.
but it's yeah, I was gonna make it or die trying, basically.
It's, yeah.
And then there was a quote that one of my teammates I went to Penn State and then I went to North Carolina, but my first year, I guess it was like a freshman thing where you had to write a quote up on the wall and it was, "Anything less than your best is to sacrifice the gift." And so, like, that kinda goes hand in hand with something, and those are 2, like, I don't know, I feel like basically my get rich or die trying or I'm gonna make it and die trying was, like, really
Yeah.
what my, like, motto was from getting cut from the World Cup team on.
Yeah. I love that because and I think that's like the epitome of
50
why
Cent.
you're good, right? Yeah, it's 50 Cent, which is
Yeah.
amazing. But just putting it all out there and just going for
Yeah.
it, I think is what separates like the good from the great, right? Is
Yeah, willing to do everything needed to do it, and I think, like,
get
I
rich or
was, like,
die
real
trying.
realistic at, like, where I was at, and I really was I guess everyone's probably really critical of themselves and what they're doing and how do you get better, but I was, like, so hungry for, like, how do I improve this much, and, like, just going back to the bare basics of my game, and, I mean, I really unturned every stone I think possible in that, like, off
Yes.
season, it's pretty cool.
Love it. So with that though, so trying to like just want to get better and be better. So for parents out there who might have an athlete, like girl or boy soccer player who's super motivated. I know soccer is all year, and we talk a lot
Mhm.
about like how that's really hard on especially kids like under 13.
Yeah.
How and then also can you be uber competitive and do you need to go all these different
Mhm.
tournaments? What advice do you have? Let's just let's say for any soccer players under 13. Let's start there, but I'm curious what you'd say for high schoolers too.
I think a lot of people think that they're gifted. If you're the best on your team and you're it's
Mm.
like a gift. And I think I felt this when I was younger too. No one really told me, "Hey, you need to work on your right foot," because like my coach was worried about everyone else that couldn't use their right foot or left foot, sorry, or
Yeah.
everyone else that couldn't do their right foot and their left foot. So I was never really told at a young age and you think, "Oh, you just have a gift." Like you're and it's like that gift it will only take you so far. And I think that for the competition situation, it's always going to be competitive in some regard, and competition to me is like a
Mm.
really good thing, but I think I learned over the years that, like, 1, you can develop I could still be getting better at soccer right now, like, just training and doing what
Mhm.
I need to do, and I think there's your growth over time, it takes a really long time and that you might not see results. You could be I remember, like, working out after 3, 4 months, 5 years, the same pass I'm trying to hit, like, I'm still, like, once here, once I'm not consistent. It would, like I would get so mad, I'm like, "How is this possible?" And I think looking back, like, when I was younger, like, just developing and being the best you can be and knowing where you're at and just, like, trying to get better and just always playing with the ball and, like, having fun, I think at that age is so crucial, and you have to enjoy it because I just, like, absolutely loved it. I love the sport alone, and I think, my mom played too, and she still
Oh,
plays right now,
awesome.
and so
Oh my
we'd go
gosh,
out
I
in the
love it.
street and we'd play, like, these, like, fun juggling games or, like, something fun, but there's always, like, a part of me that, like, I wanted to do more than what I did just at practice, and
Mhm.
I think that for whatever reason, I don't my parents didn't really make me, it was just something that, like, I wanted to do, and I think I spent time with the ball, and that age is so important for your, like, just development. And I think not competing against that girl because growing up, there was players that started over me on my youth national team that didn't even make the full team, let alone a World Cup team or something. So it was like just this
Yeah.
grind, this slow grind of just loving it and like wanting to just I was competing against myself, I guess, at some point once I learned
Yeah.
what that meant and just like staying in my lane.
Yeah. So your mom is a soccer player.
Yeah,
How do
my
you
mom.
like I mean, which I
She's so
love. I love
cute.
that she still plays.
She
It's
plays
amazing.
pickup on Sundays, like I
Oh
love
my
pickup.
God.
She's so cute. Yeah.
That is amazing. How did you get to where you are without maybe feeling, I feel like there's a lot of parent pressure sometimes. How did your parents encourage you, it sounds like, without putting pressure on you?
I think my dad played rugby and my mom played soccer. So they were both competitive athletes. And my dad he played rugby until he was like 40 something. He's not
Oh my gosh, your
all, yeah,
parents are
he's a
amazing.
competitive athlete, like just a competitive
Yeah.
psycho, I would say probably. But so but he didn't really understand soccer. And even though my mom played, he'd be like, put your elbows up. He always wanted this battle with the player. So I got like my harder competitive toughness from my dad. And then my mom, she like enjoyed it. Like she always had fun. I loved going to her games. And I think just seeing her joy and how it made her happy and like her dedication, gave me a really good example of what the joy of it and like what it is. I remember her dream was for me to play on her over 26 league when I was
Nice.
over 26. But I had to like actually sign like a release for like a press release had to go out. It would be like Allie Long is loaned out to Long Island ladies, whatever
Amazing.
they were. But and all of her teammates were so cool. There was like good friends. She's still friends with them now. And I just think I saw such a good example of playing your game, enjoying it, doing it just because she loves it. No one's making her do it at the age of, I don't even know how old she was, but whatever, like almost
Yeah.
40,
Yeah.
40 probably. And like up until now, she loves it. And I think she gave me a really good example of that. And I don't remember ever them telling me, you should go out and train. You should do this. I think maybe one summer break, my dad's like, it was like my break from high school going to college. My dad's like, you better be doing your packet. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, already done. But yeah, so it was just, yeah, I don't know. I think I did it naturally and I've always played. Like whenever I played at school, I played my neighbor, a young boy, like we played 2v2 with my neighbors. Like I was always also just like playing and enjoying it. I don't know. And yeah,
Nice.
they never
Yeah.
she asked me to like, go in the street with her at night, like after she'd get home from work. She's a teacher and we'd play. But if I didn't want to, it wasn't like
To
no
play.
pressure. It was just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. It's just like
It's always just fun.
I know. I think that's one of the best parts of sports, getting to spend time with
Hmm.
your parents in a really positive way.
Yeah.
Okay, you've already said this is hilarious from your quote, like with the 50 Cent and maybe not making the team. But I'm still like that might go on my wall. But I love asking athletes, like, because everybody's always, what's your biggest accomplishment? What's maybe one of your biggest failures or lessons that you've learned from sport?
From sport.
Could be not in sport, but I guess that's
Just in life. I think like
yeah.
throughout my career, I think every failure was like so pivotal to my success. Like I would never have been successful without my failures. And I have like little life lessons through each like failure or like getting cut or my dream falling short of what like my dream was in my mind. Oh gosh. I think obviously a big one was I got called into the national when I was like 20 or 21, the full team. And it was like right before the 2011 World Cup. But my first camp, I got injured and I didn't get called back for like years. It was like complete silence. And then in 2014, I got called in from after it was 4 years basically. And then like in that point, I was like, it was a good lesson because I was able to see, but I was like so upset that I got injured and I never got called back. It was like, whatever. And I think that I was able to like see the culture and prepared myself in my mind of what I wanted to do. And then I think not making the World Cup team in 2015 was when I'm going to make it or die trying, my 50 Cent quote. And that I felt that was our January camp is like one of the hardest camps. And she was making the roster in April or something, I think it was. So it was really January, February, March. I missed one camp and then she basically made. So in January, at the end of the January camp, she took Shannon Box, who was older. I think she was like 40 going to the World Cup. And
That's amazing.
yeah, all respect for her. And I was so sad. I cried the whole way home from New York, but I was like angry that like I felt in that camp, it was so physically demanding. Everyone, I think if you ask any player on that team what the hardest January camp was, it was that one. I was like so sore. I felt like mental, like my body was so tired that obviously like when your mind goes, like your body is tired. You can't think. And I just didn't feel like myself. And then so I like vowed that I would never be in that scenario again and feel like I can't be me because I worked so hard just to get there. And then to not feel like I can do what I do was like, and not everyone could, but I was in a position where, like I had to beat out people that have been there for years. So it was like, so that was like the hardest thing. And then I think like the best like thing probably was making that 2016 Olympic team, because they won the World Cup in 2015, and to change your roster from you're losing, it goes 23 players on the World Cup team to 18 players on the Olympic
Oh,
roster. And
wow.
I like was starting. So that first like national anthem was like the most, I was like
Yeah.
crying like on the field but I felt so good because I earned it and I knew I put in the work like above and beyond. And so that was probably like the greatest, like most life lesson failure. But then I turned it into, I made sure I tried to at least. After I gave myself, I think 3 days of crying, and then I was like,
Yeah.
and I still cried when I trained sometimes. I was like, I missed a goal like 8 times, and I would just like, kick the ball away, like so dramatic. I wish I had someone record me that whole time, and I'd be laying
Oh
on
my
the floor
gosh.
like so tired. I'd be like teary. I'm like,
Oh my God.
yeah.
I love
So,
it.
and then I literally went to preseason that season, and I got called into camp and made the roster in
Oh
2
my gosh.
camps. It was crazy. It was things happened so fast, but I was prepared for it. And
Yeah.
that's something that I think a lot of people wait to get prepared because they don't know. But like I trained in the mindset like of the unknown, that like no matter what comes, I'm gonna be the best, my best self, basically. And I'll be ready next time.
Yeah. I love that. And I think so many girls like playing soccer think, I mean, anybody, girls and boys, but girls, when you see people that are really good, it looks easy, right? So to
Yes.
hear that
Yeah.
you had 4 years where you didn't even get a call from the
Oh
national
my
team,
God. Yeah.
and then it was just like, oh my gosh, 2015, then to make and then to put in the work and see
Yeah.
the success of that, it's a really cool story. So I
Thank
think
you.
we're,
Yeah.
defined by what you can rise above, right? So many athletes.
Yeah, like when
Uh,
little girls ask me, or parents like, "Oh, my daughter got cut from the team. She's so bummed." And I'm like, "Perfect. That's a good, but not perfect. I'm sorry. That
mhm.
sucks that your daughter got cut." But like, what can you look at that? Because at 13, 12, 14, you don't make the team, or you're not starting, or you're on the B team or whatever. Like, you have so much time, and it's what you want to do with it. You can either be upset and be mad and be jealous, but that's like a waste of like your emotion. Put that into like, how do you make yourself better? And those years are so critical. You could develop way faster than when you're 2014 going to, like when you're 23, 24, you know what I'm saying? Like those years
Yeah,
are
yeah,
crucial. Like,
totally.
yeah, I think like, like it's, you want to have like little failures. I think they
Yeah,
really push you, or it's a defining moment, I think, for everyone.
yeah. I think you're right. I know I remember a coach to me saying one time, another athlete was crying and they were like, crying's good. It means you care, right?
Yeah.
If you weren't
Yeah.
upset, then you didn't care. And so now how does that help
Yeah.
motivate
Or like
you?
before games, like
Yeah.
when people, I guess now, as a veteran, and people are like, "Oh, I'm so nervous. We have such a big game." I'm like, "Oh, that's good. You're not nervous. You're like, that's excitement. You're
Yeah.
excited. Like you're excited." So it's like turning those like negatives into positive, I think, are so important.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Just like that excitement, just a good thing for people to hear. Okay. Thanks for joining us, Allie. I know. So what do you have coming up? Wait, you just got to quickly talk about this. Are
My
you allowed
TST
to?
tournament,
Yes.
yes. So I'm playing in a 77. It's 77 soccer tournament, but it's a prize for $1 million, and playing with like not old, like US players that represented a national team, whether it's national futsal or US women's national team. And we won it last year. And it's the first tournament, like not professionally, but first tournament where the prize money for the men and the women are equal, $1 million. It's super fun, different type of game, really fast. And so I'm starting to prepare for that now. So I'm excited.
That's amazing. Thanks for joining. Thanks for joining us here and being on the Sports Specialist. And if anybody's watching, if you want to talk to Allie and get personalized advice, like you're saying, parents come to ask you questions
Yeah.
about their kids. You have so much great experience and so much great advice. So reach out to you. Hopefully you can connect with lots of people.
Yes. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for
Yeah.
having me. You're the
Oh my
best.
gosh. Thanks, Allie.
Of
Okay.
course.
Yeah.